Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Today is tutorial 6 on all different types of light patterns that we can make with the Arduino. In this video we're going to be making a binary counter LED pattern where basically the Arduino is counting in binary using LEDs. And so basically here is the code right here, and I'm just going to discuss the parts that we have upgraded in this code. If you want to see all of this code or more specific parts of this code, feel free to go back in the past tutorials that we have explained all this, and also the code will be in the link, so if you want to get all this code, just download it, click the link, you can download it. And then also, you haven't seen the circuit yet, here's the circuit, and see what exactly is going on with these circuits. But the first thing that we have upgraded in the code is these two integers. So we have added these two variables here. We have counter and we have num. So counter is kind of the number that actually will be incrementing to increase or decrease binary. Now this number is not going to be storing a binary number, it's going to be storing a digital number. And then same with num. The num, you're going to see what we're going to be doing with it, but they're somewhat the same thing. So then we come down here to a case 5. So this is going to be our 5th LED pattern. And so the first thing we do is we go ahead and do counter equals counter plus LED direction. And if you've been to our past tutorials, you understand that LED direction determines what direction the LED pattern is going. In this case, it's going to be determining what direction we are counting, if we're counting up or down. Okay, so if LED direction is 1, and that means that we'll be counting up. If it's -1, then that means we're counting down, okay? Because basically what this pattern is going to be doing is going to be counting up, and then it's going to be counting down. And so this number, LED direction, will be going back and forth to 1 and -1. And so whenever LED direction is -1, we're just going to be adding -1 to counter, which is basically subtracting the value. And if it's positive, then we're going to actually be adding 1 to counter. And then here we make num equal to counter, and you'll see why. Then we have a for loop in here, and this for loop is just going to basically set all of the LED states in the LED states array to 0, because that since we have decreased or incremented counter, the number has changed, so we're going to go ahead and restart it all. And so now first I have to say is that our LED strip is 6 LEDs, and so that means the highest binary number that the Arduino can count to is 63, so we can't go any higher than that. So since we have 3 LEDs, each LED has their own specific number, and if num is equal to that number or greater than that number, then it should have that LED on. So basically the first statement we go to whenever we come into this case statement is if num is greater or equal to 32. If this is the case, then we come into this if statement and we do LED states 5, which is the last LED, because the last LED is the 32 LED. If this LED is on, that means the number in digital is greater than or equal to 32 in binary. And so we're going to make that our last LED of our LED strip to 255, which is fully on. And then we're going to go ahead and subtract 32 from num. We are subtract it because we have lit up this LED, and now this 32 is already made up full, so we're going to go ahead and subtract it. Then we'll go to the next statement and say if num is greater or equal to 16. So even if after we come into this statement and it's still greater than 16 or equal to 16, then we'll come into this statement now. Then we're going to light up the 5th LED, and we're also going to subtract 16. And then we'll come in here and say if num is greater or equal to 8. Then we'll come into this statement and light up LED 4 right here, and we're going to subtract 8. And then we'll come into this statement and see if num is greater than or equal to 4. If it is, then we'll come into this statement and we're going to make LED 3 on. And so basically because this LED 3 is the 4-digit LED, so let's say num is actually just equal to 4, then this LED number 3 will be the only LED on, because whenever there's just a 4 or above 4, this LED will be on, okay? And then we subtract 4 from it, and then we continue on. We do if num is greater than or equal to 2, and then we come in here and bright up LED 2, and then subtract 2, because if we have turned on this LED, the 2 value has been made up full, so we'll go ahead and subtract it from num and see if we have any extra. If we have any extra, then we'll come down to the next if statement and say if num is greater than or equal to 1, then come to this statement, bright up the first LED, then subtract 1 from num. And so after we are done with all this, then this will give us the number that is in counter in binary with the LEDs. So basically after we have that, we need to say if counter is equal to 0, which means we're all the way at the end, like it's at 0, or counter is 63, which means that we are at the maximum threshold that we can count with the Arduino since we only have 6 LEDs in our LED strip. Then we come into this statement and we say LED direction equals LED direction times -1. This is always going to reverse the number that LED direction is currently at. So if it's 1, then it's going to be -1. If it's -1, then it's going to be 1. So basically that we reverse the direction from us count up or down. And then after that, we just come out of this statement, and then this part up here will go ahead and light up all these LEDs that we said that should be lit up. And then also another thing that we have done is we've come in here and made counter equal to 0 whenever we are going to a new mode. Because when we come back to this mode again, we want to make sure that we're not leaving off to where we were at before. We want to make sure we start all over, so we're resetting it, so we're making counter equal to 0. And so basically that is how this code works. Now let's see the project in action. Okay, so now here is the project, and as you can see, these LEDs, they're counting in binary. And if we go ahead and speed up this with the potentiometer, you can see that it will start counting quicker and quicker and quicker, so quickly. And when it counts up, as you can see right here, it's counting up. It starts counting back down, but then you can slow it down and stuff like that. So you can see it's going really slow. And so once it goes to the full maximum binary number, with the LEDs, it will start counting back, and as you can see, that's just what happened. Now it's counting backwards. And so now we can go ahead and click on the button, and it'll turn off all of the LEDs because it's on mode 0, which is off. Then we go ahead and press the next thing, and as you can see, it brings us to the next LED pattern. And then we go ahead and click it again, and it brings us to the next one. Then we do it again, it brings us to this LED pattern, which it fades in and fades out. And then we go to the random LED pattern, where it just chooses random LEDs to blink, and then we go back to the original binary counter. And so basically that is the project. If you like this video, consider giving this video a like. Also comment down below if you have any questions, and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all, and have a great day. Bye.